So just straight in the bin or burn it, do what you need to do, just get rid of the plant. I mean, in the end, I think it's just better to be safe than sorry, right? Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Emma, and today we're gonna talk about something that isn't super nice. We're gonna be talking about MOSAIC virus. If coronavirus wasn't enough, not joking about coronavirus because it's a serious thing and people are dying and it's really intense, but humor is my coping mechanism, so sorry. So if coronavirus wasn't enough, I had to go and get MOSAIC virus too. By I mean my plants. And it hasn't been ideal. I mean, luckily, I think I caught it and I have dealt with it accordingly, but still not ideal. I would rather not have it and not have to get rid of plants, but what can you do, right? What can you do? Yeah, so we're gonna talk about MOSAIC virus. Some of you might be thinking, what the heck is MOSAIC virus? That's what I was thinking before I figured out what it was, and now I figured out that I had it and it was bad. Not my plants. I keep saying I'm sorry, I don't have a virus. My plants did. It's not as bad as coronavirus because people aren't dying from MOSAIC virus. So yeah, so you might be wondering, what is MOSAIC virus? Basically, it is a parasite that your plant can have that you can't see with the naked eye. You could probably only see it with microscopes. And it basically destroys your plant from its core, like from its cells and molecules and stuff. It just destroys your plant. It eats away at it and makes your plant super sick, and in the end will basically kill your plant. Which of course is certainly not ideal. I don't want any of my plants to die, and I don't want any of your plants to die, and so that's why I'm making this video about MOSAIC virus. So hopefully you can know the signs of it earlier than I did, and hopefully you won't lose as many plants as I did. So a whole different variety of plants have it. A lot of food plants have it, so watermelon, squash, zucchini, pumpkin, courgette, all of those sort of viney, gourdy, melony plants, I guess. You can get it, as well as tomatoes and stuff like that. And in addition to all those, the one that I personally care about most and it affects me the most is the houseplants. It can get to houseplants as well, which is not very nice. The houseplant that it gets to most often is the Monstera adansonii, and it's actually really common. A lot of Monstera adansonii have it, and it's often mistook for variegation, so people are super excited about it, but it's not. So be careful. So I figured out that my adansonii had it because it was displaying a lot of the symptoms. Symptoms include leaves that have kind of yellowy, whitish, dark greenish spots or stripes in sort of a mosaic-y pattern throughout them. Also, leaves can be wrinkled, curled, distorted, kind of funny shaped, unusual leaves. Growth can be stunted completely from plants. They won't grow any more leaves. Veins on the underside of leaves can become yellow and quite thin, kind of anemic looking veins. And fruit can become warty. I don't know really what that means, but it sounds kind of gross. But it doesn't mean that you can't eat the fruit. The fruit apparently is still entirely safe for humans. We can't get the virus, only they can, so that's really good. It might just look a little funny. One thing that you do want to note though when you're looking at symptoms is that some of these symptoms can be fairly similar to those of like insufficient watering, lack of nutrients, too much light, too much humidity. So those are things that you want to also take into account when you're looking at the plant to see whether or not it has MOSAIC virus. Like, you should be looking in the environment and seeing, are there other possibilities that it could be other than that. Personally, in my case, it was in a perfect location, bright indirect light, it was getting decent amount of humidity, it was getting watered regularly, the nutrients was fine. The only thing it can really be is the MOSAIC virus. So the way I figured out that I had it was because on my Adansonii. I was looking at it the other day and I noticed that the leaves started to have this like weird stipple pattern. It was kind of like a light green, dark green / a little bit yellow pattern throughout the entire leaf. And I was like, that doesn't look like variegation. Also, when I was looking at the new growth, it was all quite deformed and the leaves weren't coming out very nicely anymore. They were definitely stunted and a lot of them were unfurling really small and oddly shaped. And like, I knew mosaic virus existed, but I wasn't totally aware of it in like any sort of real way. And my plant had been growing really well, so I wasn't super worried about it. But then looking at these new leaves, it kind of became more and more apparent that it probably was mosaic virus. So one of the worst things about the mosaic virus is it spreads so freaking fast. Once one plant in your collection has it, boom, it can spread to the rest so easily because it spreads through so many different methods. It spreads through insects like flies and aphids. It spreads through mites, fungus, pollen, soil, pots, direct contact between leaves, and even like seeds. So if you get the fruit of the plant that has it, and you get those seeds from within it, if you plant with those seeds automatically have it, and you'll be growing a plant that has mosaic virus. So it just spreads so easily. Another really big problem when it comes to mosaic virus is treatment. There isn't one. Yeah, exactly. That's a pretty big problem, isn't it? Because once you got it, there's pretty much nothing you can do about it. And it's super disheartening. When I was doing research after I figured out that I probably had it, I just kind of got really sad. I had a couple little cries that morning, just because there's nothing you can do about it. And so your only option is to dispose of the plant entirely. Like, botanists don't know how to cure it because it is on like a cellular level. They have to do some sort of cellular thing to get rid of it, and they don't know yet. There's no known cure for mosaic virus. So like, the best advice that they give you is to remove all plants immediately, even ones that you think might have it but aren't sure. And so that's where I got into a bit more trouble, because my Monstera Adansonii was sitting in direct contact for quite a while with my Monstera deliciosa. And I had noticed that my deliciosa hadn't been looking super hot, but I didn't know what to do about it. I thought it might just be in a pot that's too small, but that didn't really help it all that much. It didn't like seem to perk up when I put it in a new pot. And then when I looked closer at the leaves, I noticed that they were kind of getting a sort of stippled looking pattern. And I was like, wow, I have to get rid of that one too, because they were sitting right next to each other and direct contact can spread it. And so I can't assume that it doesn't have it, especially since it's looking so poorly. I don't want to assume and then have it and then it spreads to other plants. I had to get rid of that one as well. There were a couple other plants in there that I thought might have it as well. I have noticed there's a couple fungus gnats flying around my house. Just a few, not like a hardcore problem. Normal house plant owner level of fungus gnats. And so I think it might have spread to a couple others through that. I had to get rid of them as well, just because it's better not to risk it, in my opinion. If you think your plant has it, you could quarantine it and like keep it completely away, like in a totally different room behind closed doors. See that it doesn't have it, give it more nutrients, try and give it the right conditions. But I've got plants in all my rooms, so it's not really a feasible thing to do that in my house. So I figured, as sad as it is, I just had to get rid of them, and that sucked a lot. It's all part of the circle of life, something I need to remember, and they're just plants. It's not my actual family. So I just need to remember to be positive about it, and it will be okay, and I can get more plants. It's fine, I will get more plants. Some people have said that you can crush up aspirin in some water and feed that to it regularly, and that could kill mosaic virus. There's no like proper scientific research proving that that works, but if you have the time and space to try it, it could be worth a try because it could save your plant. It's up to you if you want to do it. If you can, I totally would suggest it because it's better to not lose plants. There's no foolproof way to get rid of it. And so, I mean, in the end, I think it's just better to be safe than sorry, right? I didn't want my entire collection to be taken out by the virus. That would be awful. So there are a couple things you can do to try and prevent mosaic virus from infecting your houseplant collection. First off is choose resistant plants. That isn't as applicable for houseplant owners as it is for outside gardeners slash fruit gardeners. There are plants that you could pick for your outside garden that are more resistant to the virus, probably won't get it. But when it comes to houseplants, pretty much buying an Adansonii is a bit of a risk. And I suggest if you do get one, that you check it thoroughly when you get it to make sure that it is healthy and it's not displaying the signs of mosaic virus. And even if it looks healthy, maybe try and keep it away from your other plants for a little while just to watch some new growth happen and make sure that it's not exhibiting symptoms for a little while before you introduce it to your plants. So just to be safe rather than sorry about it in the end. Another thing you can do is make sure you're getting plants from a reliable source. And I know it's difficult because I get plants from everywhere, like random people from Facebook, online stores, the grocery store, basically wherever. But it's best to get plants from reliable sources that you know are gonna give you the best quality plants that aren't gonna be sick, aren't gonna have pests. So try and support those businesses that are really looking out for your plants and picking the best ones for you. Another thing you can do is pest prevention. If you don't have fungus gnats flying between your plants, then you're less likely for your other plants to get it. Basically just flattening the curve of mosaic virus in your home. It's also really important to thoroughly clean all of the tools you're using for your houseplants, like water meters, spades, other tools that you use on houseplants. Clean them thoroughly between plants because you can spread it through those tools. Also, you want to make sure that you're washing your hands a lot if you think you have it. If you don't, you could probably be okay. But wash them between touching different plants because you don't want to be spreading mosaic virus through plant touching because that's not very fun. The last thing you can do to help prevent mosaic virus is to isolate any suspected infections. Keep an eye on them until it's properly diagnosed. Keep it isolated until it is figured out. And if it has mosaic virus, chuck that away. Not your inside bin, your outside bin. Throw it outside and don't throw it on a compost pile because throwing it on a compost pile could infect that compost forever. So just straight in the bin or burn it. Do what you need to do. Just get rid of the plant. Get rid of it. Get rid of it. I know it's hard and I know it sucks, but sometimes you just need to get rid of it. Yeah, so that's all you need to know in order to check your plants for mosaic virus, mostly your Adansonii. If you don't have one of them, probably don't have to worry about it that much, but like, the more you know, the more you can look for it in case it's a problem. Hopefully you don't have it. I have my fingers crossed for all of you that you don't. Thank you so much for watching. I really appreciate it. If you liked this video, please give it a thumbs up down below and leave a comment on other plant things you'd like me to talk about in future videos. And subscribe for more. Thank you so much for watching and I will see you next time. Bye!